if you ever wonder, if you ever hear, if you ever experience in church settings where they say women are not allowed to do blank, you really should put a huge question mark around that. The idea of women in leadership should be quite a no-brainer. I say this not only because my wife is a pastor and leader in our denomination, who happens to be a woman, right? But, I also say this not only because our bishop happens to be a woman. I say this because as I search through the scriptures, I find this reality to be quite ancient. And more importantly, when Jesus teaches us that women are just as equally brought into leadership as men, that Jesus isn't introducing something new. Jesus actually is restoring something that was lost. Genesis 3, we find the results of the mistakes that Adam and Eve make, and one of the results is this imbalance of power and abuse of power between genders. And men begin to rule over women as a result in a very evil and abusive way. Sin is quite evil, quite devastating. And I always sit in the wonder of this, that people of Christian faith, there are people of Christian faith who still believe that men are greater and better than women, or superior. Because here's the problem we run into. If Jesus came back to restore things back the way they should be, why are we living with principles that became after we messed up? If Jesus came to restore things back to what was before the mess up, before what we call the fall of humanity, the story where God looks at the first human and says, it's not good for this human to be alone, and then makes a companion for this human that is supposed to actually be a better version. Right? I've said this before at Restoration, when God created the first human, that the word for create is smushed together. And the second human is intricately designed. So the second human is a 2.0, is a better version of 1.0. And then when God says to the first human, it's not good for this human to be alone, I will make a helper. The word helper is not someone who's inferior, assisting on the side. The word is ezer, which means someone who's greater, stronger, better, smarter, able to help. It's the same word used for God. God is my ezer. God is my ezer. The same word to describe our relationship with God is used to describe Eve's relationship and Adam. So any Christian movement that devalues women is a movement that is a very deep misunderstanding of what Jesus Christ came to do.